All right, Shalom Israel, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakakadash. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles, elder bishops, great millstone, much salutations to the brothers, teaching word for the hopeful elect. Soon to be the elect, most high will. He said he shortened the time for the elect's sake. We're in the time of the end of this wicked world, and the righteousness to come in, you know. Um, this is concerning the Haitian getting deported, and they had the Northern Kingdom, which is so-called Mexicans and so-called Latinos, getting deported, broken up families, and what have you. And now it's Haitians. So, this government, is going into a new world order with established laws according to, we always tell you, draconian laws, you know. Um, so they're coming down on people, and we're one of their main targets, if not the main target, because we have the prophecies. Now, it's a lot of people um, saying on the flip side, yeah, get over it. Um, you're going to turn it into a race thing, and you're going to find some way to be racist. In the Bible, nowhere does it say God is racist and all that. And these are coming from the mouths of people that are from, their fathers that, came and slaughtered people over here in America, a land that wasn't theirs before it was called America, and established it on hate. It says, "Woe to him that builds a town with blood." You know, there's all the scriptures is as far as the wicked is pointing to the so-called white man. Even his police force is out of order with the Most High. It's not the law of the Bible. But they'll still have you believe that this is, how they function and how they operate is according to some moral standard. And it's not. It has nothing to do. They're working for a wicked government, you know. But our people are feeling the pain. I mean, and the suffering. We told you that Jacob's trouble is coming. These are all this deportation is dealing with mainly the tribes. You don't see them, because there's a lot of so-called white people over here that are from, from England or from, even that were born in the outside of the country, and they're not. You don't see them being publicized to be deported, or you don't see the publication of them being deported. So, and it's the Most High is stirring up a lot of spirits, man. Spirits of the people, spirits of the country, and that's why we say, I mean, not only that, it's prophesied in the Bible that this is the end. This is the end, man. So, and it tells you about how, in Deuteronomy, going back to our curses, even the Most High is sending them against us, these so-called white people, uh, which is our enemy. In the scriptures, Esau, red man, redneck, red child, Rothschild. Deuteronomy 28 and 50, it says, "A nation of fierce countenance," which, let me see what the previous verse says right quick. Yeah, let's start at 49. "The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth." What's America's bird? The eagle. The Most High, don't say the Most High doesn't use similitudes and that's synonymous with understanding, the actual thing that is is talking about when we break these things down, because Yahweh Shai, he's known as the Lion of Judah. He's also known as the Lamb. You know, he's not a beast, but he that is it's a representation of who he is as a man, and even you know, as a lamb, you know, coming humble, and that was slain, and then as a lion of Judah coming fierce and coming fierce upon these nations, because he's from the tribe of Israel. He's of Israel, and he's a so-called black man with woolly hair, and they don't want to come to grips with that. They'll tell you, you're a racist for speaking the truth about that. Um, but it says, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. It says, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And we've had many enemies and been under many captivities. Babylonian, Assyrian, Persian and Mede, Greek, Roman. This is the last leg of Rome. And we're under this captivity. This is our main core captivity right now. This is the focal, um, focal, what do you call it, point. This is the subject, the main subject, core subject when it comes to, how the Most High is dealing as far as his prophets. That we're all over the world, but this is the core place, right here in America. Because America is going to be an example of these other nations standing afar, looking at her burning, and what it says a particular word that they're going to be well because of her burning, and these devils are mad as hell, and it's because of the truth, really, because they're being found out, you know. This is that war. This is that struggle in the womb of Rebecca, bringing forth two children, which were twins, fraternal twins, and one coming out red all over like a hairy garment, and they struggled like these were separated. Esau is the so-called white man. Jacob is so-called black man. And Haitians, Jamaicans, uh, Ephraimites. I mean, Puerto Ricans, so-called Mexicans. And a lot of Jakes, that so-called blacks are saying, forget about the Mexicans, because they don't like us anyway. They emotional, man. Most High said, even in the context of us being in the truth, Most High said, forgive your brother, you know. And these are the people that claim they're Christians and go to church and all that. So, in another breath, the church, Christian feeling and all that is done away with. They don't really believe in God. They don't really, and that's good that the churches are falling. I'm saying they never believed in God in the first place. Because if they did, they would understand why these things are going down. They would understand that, that even though you go experience some things of another tribe, of your own people, that may seem like hate, that doesn't, uh, that doesn't mean that that it's overall that way. It doesn't mean that, because Jacob. I mean, come on, a lot of so-called black people kill black people all day and every day. So no, man. But this is happening to our people, and Most High wanting our people to understand that they really are enemies, man, and they came to destroy us. They came to divide and conquer. They came to, you know, uh, they came to, they coming as the devil himself, man. The physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan is who we're dealing with. Satan means adversary, and it also, has a scripture in there that says Most High is going to bring bring our adversaries against us because of disobedience. This is all because of disobedience. If you go back to Deuteronomy 28:15, he said, if you don't hearken into his ways and his statute commandment, all these commandments, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So our people are feeling the hurt and pain of the enemy and feeling the true hatred of the enemy. You know, um, it's another scripture. It says, Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, Lord in all caps, Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. We always say, Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, in the name of his son, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So certain men are going to get spiritual powers, and you're going to have events like this to where the people rebel against the government, and that's going to lead into civil war, civil unrest, because it's almost like a crowd full of people, and they're facing SWAT team, a policeman, and they're just doing a standoff, and then as soon as the first one throw a brick, then everybody does. It's like that domino effect, so to speak. So things are going to get wild and crazy, and and people are at this point, they've been tired, but they haven't been moved to really retaliate or really make moves against the enemy. But now people are tired, man, because they know how crooked the system is, and crooked these devils are, that they don't care, and they're gonna, you know, um, they talk, and it also says they encourage themselves in evil matter, talking about these so-called white people, and they talk and they justify themselves through patriotism, democracy, um, political talk. I was born free in this country. This is a great country, and they feel like they true Christians, because but they don't even know their fathers have murdered, raped, robbed, and murdered people, millions and millions and millions of people. What did it say? Right quick, be for their sake, he shall be complain of an ungodly father. It says, let's see if I can find it in here. complain of an ungodly father, King James Version. Sirach 4 and 17, which is in the Apocrypha, which is a part of the Bible, in 1611. And now all of a sudden this book is, when we read from the Bible, the Bible is, been written by men. Now, but y'all were the Christians that was promoting these churches and reading the Bible as the book up for the church all around the world. Now it's all of a sudden man wrote it. Let me see. So it says, Sirach 41 and 6, it says, the inheritance of sinners, children shall, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah. Yeah, Sirach 41:7 says, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake, man. So all the things that their father has done, they call this, they refer to their the the core leadership of America, that how America was uh, initially built by saying the founding fathers, and I think they have the founding fathers on Mount Rushmore, and I think one of them is George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, something like that. But they were proud of their fathers. They were proud of how they took over this land and how they built these cities and all that, and disregarded the whole slavery thing, and they even try to justify slavery. They have a term for it called manifest destiny. So, uh, that's how we know these people are wicked. They evil as hell. These people are wicked as hell, and it says in the scriptures that Ecclesiastes, it says, you shall of course it says none new under the sun, but it says there shall be no remembrance of the former things, neither shall it when it comes after. So, you know, even when you're born, reincarnate back into this earth, and you born of your fathers, and then time goes by, and hundreds of years, you become an older man and all that, and you come into third, fourth generation, and then you talk about your forefathers and your great 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 grandfathers that are no longer here, and now you've come in, and so you're gonna be like, well, you don't remember what you did because you are your forefathers. You come back in a lot of your forefathers, but you're not gonna remember what you did because there's no remembrance of former things. So it's almost like this situation with the Haiti thing. If we had another 100 years, which we don't, but these same people that are doing this, and shooting Jake and murdering Jake and deporting Jake, whatever they do, 100 years down the line, they're not gonna remember this. But they those same people. That's why they don't want to believe in reincarnation, man. You know, because they've done this before. Still doing it, and Most High said they gotta pay because it says He required that which is past. Most High required that which is past. You know, they people like that's the past. Let's move on. Let bygone whatever. We all they have a saying that we've all gone into slavery or some form of slavery. We've all witnessed. You know, we all been through pain, all been through some form of poverty or not having and all that. Nah, this is, it was prophesied that this would happen to a particular people, you know, God's chosen people, like it said in Deuteronomy, you know, and it even says that in Amos. It says, uh, "Only you have I known of all the families of the earth. Only you have I known of all the families of the earth." King James Version. So Amos 3:2, "You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities." And this is a form of punishment, man. You know. But the thing is, the difference is, even them, being in attack mode, as far as the officers and the military and whatever they bring to the surface, uh, to attack Israelites and come against Israel, even those that are in the world, not only those that are in the truth, but when they do come for the, the elect, or we say hopeful elect, but elect, that's when the Most High is going to get involved, man, because it says, "Come not against my chosen ones, against my elect, do my elect no harm." But these devils are going to pull something in anyway, come against us. See, so of course they play chess and they know about prophecy. They know about uh, you know this Bible. They know about witchcraft. They know how, some things of the spirit world that the Most High have shown them. As far as, like, man, how could this be? Because they deal with science and all that. They deal with things on another level. To where they tap into things. Playing with the with the elements, playing with the spirits, so to speak. You know, playing with DNA and all that. So that these are wicked people, and the Most High sometimes shows them things. So they be like, even with us, they be like, man, they are God's people. We've seen some things but they ain't gonna tell you. They gonna lie to you. Of course, they lying to their own children. That's why the average Edomite think that everybody's the same. He think that we're all God's people, and then but you have them doing science and all that, and studying science and DNA and all that, and then behind closed doors they know that is something happening, that they see, that they witness, doing whatever they do, experiments or studies that prove that we are the children of God, that prove there's something special about us, and even though it might be by carnal means, but we have cells in our body, we have, the strand of DNA and all that, and that's a part of it, that's a part of it, because Most High, He made man, so our people are suffering like this because of they don't understand. Some of them might not still understand, but they know the prophets are out there. Many of our people know. I would say most of our people know the prophets out there, and they disregarded him. And now the Most High is, allowing the enemy to bring wrath on our people. So even though we're kind of vexed by it, but we understand why the Most High is allowing this to happen, man. And the Haitians, they practice, they are our people, but they practice a lot of voodoo and all that, especially these women. They and that's not in our customs. That's not, and they worship other gods too, just like our people over here. You know, so the Most High is allowing the enemy to snap, man. And we told you that this was coming. We prophesied that this would come. When it's called Jacob's trouble in the scriptures. So as it unfolds more and more, they're going to see why these things are happening. They're forming more laws. They're going more into this new world order, and the new world order is basically control. It's basically control over everyone, and eventually putting a C hip in them. Because if you got people like this and and, and fighting against the government, of course you get put on a list, and then people are trying to escape. They'll try to run. They'll try to plan to go to another country or whatever, and they want to put tabs on these people, man. You know, and a lot of these people that are getting kidnapped and taken away. A lot of these black women has been victims lately, and I'm pretty sure this happens in Haiti too. That those are really government. A lot of them are government officials. A lot of them they're not regular people. Like they're some type of government uh, official that that won't get arrested for doing that. And they'll probably take them. They had a movie called Antebellum that where they was doing that. They was taking them back to slavery in a modern world, like we are now. They was taking them back into slavery and where like the old slavery of plantation and all that. They took them back there, and they had cell phones, and they were using cell phones and everything. Not the actual slaves, because it was banned for them, but the actual so-called slave masters, or them playing as slave masters, they had cell phones. So you know, we told you that we're still in slavery. It tells you in Baruch, I think it's 4 and 6, we're still in slavery to this very day. We're in a captive state of under our enemies, and this is what they do. This is what they've been doing. All the housing and projects and Section 8 and the affirmative action BS and the civil rights movement BS. That was all BS. That was all uh, uh, you know um, that was all fraudulent. You know, pretty much paperwork and shit, man. That make Jake believe that he had a chance in this place, that he could actually, dream, and the dreams will come true. And now this is the nightmare. It's always been a nightmare, but they just didn't see it. Now, Jake gotta before Jake believes something, something had to happen to him physically, man, for him to believe something. Now I don't believe that, and now this is happening. They be like, I see, I'm starting to see what y'all saying, man. You know, they ain't letting us out. They deporting us or whatever it may be. In this type of case, deportation. And then you had talk about the so-called Mexicans coming, joining together with the so-called blacks, and we've been telling y'all that we all the same people, as far as the tribes. So y'all getting to things a little too late, man. You know, and these are a lot of these same people that was believing, if not all of them, believing in the government, believing, in in the so-called white man's world, that he was a friend, you know. And it says in the Bible, never trust thine enemy, man. The police, they've been set up for years. They've been what do you call it? Entrapment. It's called entrapment. And it tells you in the scriptures they privately set up for Jake's, pretty much to trap Jake, put him in prison, or even take his life. So, when you don't listen to the Most High, and they gonna try it, the prophets too, like it says in Apocrypha, you know, because they know about it, and they know the scriptures, and they know, but they just want to see it with their own eyes, you know, because they're carnal people. They want to see with their own eyes. I want to see this God, great God that you're talking about, come from the sky, or this Savior that's come from the sky. That's a so-called black man with woolly hair. Even though the history proves that, it's documented facts that point as evidence that those things are true, especially in the scriptures. But it's easy for them to say that we misinterpreted because nobody has ever broke these scriptures down. So they be like, well, how does the black man know all of a sudden? We've been having Bible scholars, churches been around forever. Ain't nobody has ever broke these scriptures down. So, and now that they are as so-called black people,